626 horsepower, $160,000, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. The 2026 Range Rover Sport SV just became the most brutal luxury SUV Land Rover has ever built, and I spent 3 days finding out if it's worth mortgage-level money. I've analyzed every trim level, compared it against the BMW X5M and Porsche Cayenne Turbo, and tracked down the ownership costs nobody talks about. Hit subscribe right now because we're covering 3 critical things: the exterior design that separates this from every other Range Rover, the technology inside that shocked me, and the real-world ownership reality at the end that might change your mind completely. Let's talk about what makes this thing look different. The 2026 Range Rover Sport sits on a 118-inch wheelbase, measures 194.7 inches long, and spans 80.6 inches wide with mirrors folded. But those numbers don't tell the real story. Land Rover completely redesigned the front fascia this year with a more aggressive bumper, a gloss black grille that's 15% larger than last year's model, and new matrix-LED headlights with pixel technology that can mask individual sections to avoid blinding oncoming traffic. 3 design elements separate the Sport from the standard Range Rover. First, the roofline drops 1.2 inches lower, creating that coupe-like silhouette without sacrificing headroom. Second, the beltline rises more aggressively toward the C-pillar, pure athletic tension. Third, those rear haunches are wider and more pronounced, housing massive wheel arches that swallow up to 23-inch forged alloy wheels on the SV edition. Speaking of the SV, those are carbon ceramic brakes behind the wheels, 16.1-inch front rotors. The calipers are finished in a choice of red, black, or silver, and they need to be that big because this 5,657-pound SUV stops from 60 mph in just 108 feet. You get 8 exterior colors, but 3 are SV exclusive: Marl Gray, Ligurian Black, and Sunrise Copper. The dynamic SC models start at $101,975 and come with 21-inch wheels, black exterior pack, and adaptive air suspension as standard. The autobiography trim jumps to $118,700 and adds illuminated door handles, privacy glass, and deployable side steps. But the SV edition, starting at $153,850, that's where things get serious. You get the bespoke front bumper, unique rear diffuser with quad exhaust tips, lowered sport suspension that's 15 millimeters closer to the ground, and that ceramic brake package I mentioned. The SV also gets white ceramic badging with black SV roundels and etched SV logos in the puddle lamps. One detail I love: watch what happens when you approach with the key. The vehicle drops 40 millimeters on the air suspension, the door handles deploy, and those SV logos project onto the ground. It's theater, but it works. The design language here is reductive luxury, fewer lines, cleaner surfaces, but everything intentional. This isn't trying to look aggressive like a BMW X5M with its overstyled air intakes. This is understated brutality, British restraint with shocking capability underneath. Open the door and you're immediately hit with semi-aniline leather, real aluminum, and open-pore wood. This is a $160,000 interior, and it feels like it. The front seats are 22-way adjustable with memory, heating, ventilation, and massage function. I'm 6'1" and I have 4 inches of headroom even with the panoramic glass roof. Shoulder room is 61.1 inches up front, wider than the BMW X5M by nearly an inch. This is where Land Rover made the biggest change for 2026. You're looking at the new 13.1-inch curved touchscreen running the updated Pivi Pro interface. It's curved toward the driver at a 7-degree angle, sits higher in the dash, and responds in 0.3 seconds. The old system, over 1 second of lag. That matters when you're trying to change drive modes on the move. The interface is organized into 3 permanent tiles at the bottom: climate, navigation, and media. Everything else lives in customizable widgets. You can have the nav map full screen while keeping climate controls accessible without diving into submenus. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are wireless and full-screen compatible. The 13.7-inch digital instrument cluster is actually sharper than the center screen, 1920x720 resolution. You get 5 display modes, but the vitals screen shows everything: tire pressure, suspension articulation, steering angle, and a real-time torque distribution graphic that actually updates accurately. The 3D surround camera system uses 6 cameras and can display 16 different views, including ClearSight ground view that makes the hood virtually transparent. When you're crawling over obstacles off-road, you see the terrain directly beneath the vehicle as if you're looking through the floor. It's augmented reality for rock crawling. Now here's what shocked me about this interior, and this is something Range Rover doesn't advertise. Climb into the second row and you discover the Sport actually has more rear legroom than the full-size Range Rover. 39.2 inches versus 37.8 in the big one. Why? Shorter rear overhang, but the cabin is packaged more efficiently. If you're buying this to drive from the back seat, you're getting executive class space in a vehicle that's 8 inches shorter overall. The Meridian signature sound system in the SV has 29 speakers and 1,430 watts. It's not the best SUV audio I've heard, that's still the Burmester in the Cayenne, but it's top 3. The active noise cancellation works so well that at 80 mph on the highway, I measured 64 decibels inside. That's library quiet. The full-color head-up display projects nav directions, speed, and adaptive cruise data onto the windshield. It's bright enough to see in direct Texas sunlight, and the image appears to float 23 feet in front of the vehicle. Storage situation. You get a wireless charging pad that actually holds your phone in place, 4 USB-C ports, and a center console that swallows a full-size laptop. Cargo space behind the second row is 27.7 cubic feet, expandable to 56.8 with seats folded. That's less than a BMW X5M but more than the Porsche Cayenne Turbo. Let's talk about what makes this thing move. 3 powertrains for 2026. The base P360 gets a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 with mild hybrid assist making 355 horsepower and 369 lb-ft of torque. 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. Starting price, $79,450. Step up to the P400, same engine, retuned to 395 horsepower. 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. Then there's the SV, 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 with mild hybrid, 626 horsepower, 553 lb-ft of torque available from 2,000 RPM. 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Top speed electronically limited to 155 mph. That's supercar acceleration in a 3-row capable luxury SUV. You get 6 drive modes plus configurable dynamic mode. Comfort, Eco, Grass, Gravel, Snow, Mud, Ruts, Sand, and Rock Crawl. The active air suspension can raise ride height by 2.9 inches for off-road or lower at 1.6 inches at highway speeds for better aerodynamics. Now let's talk about ownership reality because this is where the dream meets your bank account. Fuel economy on the SV. 15 mpg city, 20 highway, 17 combined. Premium fuel required. If you drive 12,000 miles per year, you're spending approximately $3,400 annually on gas at current prices. Maintenance. Land Rover requires service every 10,000 miles. Expect $800, $1,200 per visit. Annual maintenance budget, $2,000. Insurance. Full coverage on a $160,000 performance SUV, $3,500, $5,000 per year depending on your age and location. Depreciation is the killer. Range Rover Sports historically lose 26% of their value in the first 3 years. On a $160,000 SV, that's $41,600 in depreciation, or $1,155 per month just in lost value. Total cost of ownership for year 1, approximately $61,000 including depreciation, insurance, fuel, and maintenance. That's reality. So how does this stack up? The BMW X5M competition makes 617 horsepower, costs $120,000, and hits 60 in 3.7 seconds, same as the Range Rover Sport SV. The Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT, 631 horsepower, $180,000 in 3.1 seconds to 60. The Range Rover splits the difference on price and matches the BMW on performance. But here's the thing, neither of those can crawl over boulders or wade through 35 inches of water. The Range Rover Sport SV is the only one that's genuinely capable off-road while being supercar fast on pavement. If you want to see how this compares in a full head-to-head test, hit that subscribe button because that video drops next week. Final verdict. The 2026 Range Rover Sport SV is the most well-rounded high-performance luxury SUV you can buy right now. It's faster than it has any right to be, more luxurious inside than SUVs costing $40,000 more, and it'll still conquer the Rubicon Trail on Saturday morning. Should you buy one? If you can absorb that $61,000 first-year ownership cost, and you want one vehicle that does absolutely everything at an elite level, yes. This is the SUV equivalent of a Swiss Army knife designed by Aston Martin. Subscribe if this helped you make a decision and drop a comment telling me which competitor you'd cross-shop against this. I read every single one. I've got the BMW X5M review right here and the Porsche Cayenne Turbo comparison over here. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.